There is an episode, it's actually one of my favorites, number 4, where it's a very calm episode. It's a very introspective one that I found to be, that I felt so good after watching it. It's just the way I feel after watching the show. And there's a comment that's made where this guy is trying to get better at something. And he says, the thing I've learned in life is that it's never about being, he actually says, I've learned to be better and not perfect. That's the quote he says. I've learned to be better and not perfect. And I find that to be, I think most people would make the sound you just made. Like the way he said it, a lot of us say, you know, let me just have a better day, but it's not a perfect day. But I'm learning to be better and not perfect. And I look at that in that you don't have to decide your life is good, bad, right, or wrong, or that there's every day. Are you attempting in your conversations with yourself, in your conversations with other people, that you're noticing things? That when I say better, it doesn't mean getting a better grade, or it doesn't mean having more friends, or it's just like, I'm going to do this in a way that I'm working toward what feels better. Or I'm going to say something that's more honest. I'm going to try something that feels inspired. I'm going to do better, but it may not look to the outside. It's not about doing something where other people, you're getting external validation.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm even better might be like, for me, one of my betters has been, okay, well, I'll use an example my daughter gave me because it's very similar to mine. She said she had a headache the other day and she kept forcing herself to do things and do things and do things with that headache. I can relate. And then the next, like a few hours later, her headache was gone and it was so easy to do those things. So what she learned from that is her better is, when I have a headache, I'm going to relax. I'm going to do that better for myself. I'm not going to beat myself over the head with the fact I should feel better and get things done. And I could really relate to that one because I do that too.
Yeah. Well, for me, I kind of took a different path. The whole idea of perfect is one that I think our society elevates.
Yeah.
You know, you got to win the Super Bowl, or you got to get first place in the science fair,
And
or
the
whatever.
body perfection.
Yeah. Or
stuff.
body perfection. Doesn't matter. You got to get straight A's. Like,
Yeah.
and it's very an uncomfortable place to reside from, is the striving for perfection.
Yeah.
And what your quote is, I've learned to be better, not perfect. It's like, I don't know. It just kind of lets me off the hook in a good way.
Yeah.
Now, you could say, well, Tiger Woods wanted to be the best golfer in the world, and Tom Brady wanted to be the best quarterback of all time. And were they? Well, Tiger probably wasn't. That probably still goes to Jack Nicklaus. Statistically speaking, a lot of people can say Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time, but plenty of people would argue for other quarterbacks. But
Can I stop you in
Sure.
that though? Look at what's going on in their lives. Like,
right. Well, I want to say at what cost?
Please
At
keep
what
going.
cost?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
At what cost?
Exactly.
You know, plenty of wonderful people get divorced, but Tom is in the middle. Actually, he's done with his divorce.
Yeah.
So it's really quick.
Yeah.
Tiger's had a lot of personal issues.
A lot of problems.
So yeah, the idea of perfection, or I always think of like fathers really trying to get their sons to be so good at something, and that son would just want to please their dad in a way to make sure that that's the only way that they feel like they can receive love. It's a really inhibiting way of living a life. So for me, when I heard that quote, it's like, and I thought of, for some reason, the book that Dan Harris wrote called 10% Happier.
Yeah.
Like he didn't write a book called 100% Happier.
Yeah.
He called a book 10% Happier.
Yeah.
So how can we just be a little bit more aware, a little more curious, a little more conscious, a little more intentional, whatever it is, instead of having to arrive at this, mecca of whatever it is that you're searching for.
And stretching the word better, whereas I'm going to get, when a day doesn't go the way I planned, I'm going to get better at handling that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So you can stretch this word where it doesn't mean you're on this linear, or it's not even linear, that you're on this upward trajectory where you're getting better, better, better. Better is about, I'm going to handle this better. I'm going to be more curious. I'm going to get better at being curious. I'm going to allow myself to rest if I don't feel good. Better is very malleable.
Yep.
You get to kind of decide how you use the word, and perfect doesn't exist. And to your point, like, I know people use, they use Tiger Woods and Tom Brady and Michael Phelps and, Megan Rapinoe, or, Abby Wambach, or, this perfection of like being an athlete. But they will tell you straight up, or at least demonstrate through some of their experiences, it's been a rough road.
Yeah.
The life enjoyment has been challenged.
Yep.
And that is, so basically, let's go back to having your loves in order. If your top love is, I need to be the best, better than everybody else, compete and always win, a lot of the other things are going to fall away, because you're going to lose a lot of relationships. You're going to have a lot of self-doubt. You're going to have a lot of there's pain in that. And I feel like there's a place that's just such a societal, cultural thing where we think that's where happiness is. And anybody that's been there will tell you, well, like the studies of, the people who, the depression rates, as soon as athletes in the Olympics get a medal, as soon as they get off that podium, their likelihood of depression skyrockets. And they have to go through this whole thing of, who am I and what do I do now?
Right.
And it doesn't mean you shouldn't be interested in that if that is who you are. It's just, you have to have a more holistic, well-rounded look at what makes a life. And it's not just one thing.
Right.
And as soon as you win, actors who get the job they've always wanted, they get the payout, they get the notoriety, they get on the cover of a magazine. They're like,